This is Dandong, possibly China's strangest border city, and today I watch North Koreans watch state propaganda, search for contraband, and try to sneak into North Korea's supposedly shutting down foreign currency stockpiling international restaurant industry. Join me on my bizarre adventure across northern China. There's a lot of North Korean restaurants hidden amongst the areas downtown. And many of them are now run by Chinese people rather than North Koreans. Part of the sanctions have made it difficult for the visa renewal process, but many of them stayed, some of them as effectively illegal immigrants. And now they work under Chinese management in a number of the restaurants here. Now this is interesting. The restaurant behind me is a North Korean restaurant. Specifically, it's a North Korean restaurant that the US government claimed was shut down on a Radio Free Asia broadcast, where North Korean businessmen and politicians and people who have business in China will come to gather and eat food. It's a relatively high-end kind of place. A lot of the restaurants are used to funnel money to the regime via paid labor, where the regime offers slightly less money for the same service and pocket the difference. I think it's very funny that Radio Free Asia got it wrong, but also I think we're going to try to get a seat. I heard it's reservation only, but maybe there's a way to get in. Now, this one doesn't open until dinner time, so I went to grab North Korea's most famous dish for a quick lunch while I wait for the more interesting establishments to open. This restaurant, unlike the one I want to visit, is ethnically Korean owned, but not North Korean. We asked the staff for her favorites, ending up with Pyongyang cold noodles, pig blood sausage, and a board of overcooked meat. Those are very sturdy noodles. I just had to withdraw a bunch of money because I don't think the North Korean restaurant's going to take Alipay. Alright, on to the next location, which should be North Korean state-run restaurant, specializing in turtle and dog meat. We got a taxi coming right now. Alright, we have arrived. The restaurant from earlier should be open now, so it's time to see if they let me in. And if I'm lucky, I might be able to talk with some North Korean people. It's not necessarily guaranteed that we can even get into this next restaurant, because word on the street is that, some of them are closed, right? But I scattered out the ones that should probably be open. But word on the street is that they close at random times, depending on how many people are staffed, and people are moving to and from North Korea, mostly leaving, right? 80% women, 20% men, being sent back to North Korea on a daily basis. For context, these not-so-hidden secret restaurants are remnants of a bizarre trend in some Chinese cities where North Koreans are sent by the government to serve customers and often perform in some kind of dated, supposedly sexy, 90s airline-esque uniform for the North Korean and Chinese clientele. Behind where we're eating, they have just North Korean state television. Whoa.
And the one behind you is pretty clear.
Some kind of film, I have no idea. Yeah, definitely is a little bit overpriced. I'm not allowed to film in the North Korean restaurants, but this one's particularly fun because it's this restaurant is supposed to not exist. Supposedly. It supposedly doesn't exist right now. But we're sitting here. Despite the expensive menu, I ordered some supposed specialties, some very odd fried beef, dumplings, and a very decent North Korean stew. I can't easily record here because it's quite simply not allowed, but I'll try to sneak it in. It's good. This is very mild, super mild. And then next up we have breaded fried beef. I think it tastes like fried beef jerky. Yeah, this restaurant is one of the few North Korean restaurants still operating after COVID. All the women here work for the North Korean government, and they laughed at my attempt to use Korean. All of the staff are in these flight attendant-esque uniforms. It's like a step into some weird 90s luxe dystopia. I gotta love the sound of communism in the background. The longer we stayed, the louder the propaganda got. And without exaggeration, this North Korean TV channel was being played at nearly max volume as the staff just stares intently. And this went on for the rest of my entire dinner, only interrupted by us leaving. Even the eventual credit roll was met with an unpaused fixation. Yeah, did not get the opportunity to ask any interesting questions today to the North Korean waitstaff. To be honest, seeing a foreigner in the restaurant is probably intimidating to a certain extent, especially because the way that the staffing situation works in a lot of the North Korean restaurants, the ones that are government sponsored, is the girls have a manager or someone else that is kind of actively watching, right? So there's almost never more than or less than 2 people in a room, so they can kind of report on each other. Oh well, I mean, that was mostly a failure. Did not get to ask any meaningful questions. The staff hid from us the whole time. Filming is not allowed for obvious reasons. And it was quite expensive and only okay at best. But I mean, that is a glimpse at what someone in the upper class of the North Korean hierarchy would be eating, or have the luxury to eat. Pre-COVID, there was a big kind of culture around North Korean businessmen who would come here and have kind of lavish state-sponsored dinners on the upper stories of the restaurants here. And I think those are a thing of the past. I've checked every restaurant that used to be like that, and they're all empty. There's nothing. There's nothing happening. You know, I wanted to get a glimpse and maybe sit down with some North Korean businessmen in a very awkward and probably interesting night, but most that we got was fried beef and North Korean Airlines flight attendants. So that might be the best that we can do here for now. Not one to give up too easily, I left again to try to find an even more exclusive North Korean state-run restaurant. This one a little bit more sensitive than the last. The only information I could find on it is some Chinese vlog or Chinese blog from 5-6 years ago, which is not that reliable of a source, but I found the building. There were people in it yesterday. It has no signs or indication of it being a restaurant, and we're just gonna see if we can get a table. Word on the street is that at 6:30 there's some kind of cultural event for the North Korean businessmen. So it's 6:28 right now, and I gotta see if I can rush down there. It should be right here. Let's see. See if we get in trouble. This is the one. It looks pretty quiet in there. It's empty today. Still, I wanted to find at least one more of these hidden businesses, and heard that there's a small import trade of highly illegal tiger products leaving North Korea as well, and I might just so happen to know a place to see them. Okay, we'll give it a shot. Ask if they have tiger wine.
Do they have wine in general?
Maybe. 你好.
大头的空，现在在国内是严令禁止。
That's very difficult to get right now. Everyone has like, especially bringing it over is stuff over in North Korea, so they can't bring it over.
Well, we learned from our side quest to find the tiger bone liquor from North Korea. is that the trade's been mostly shut down entirely. North Koreans are not able to cross right now because of sanctions and visa problems left over from COVID. And then on top of that, anything with tiger is highly illegal. China's cracked down on most of the illegal trade. So shops have to close it as well. But that is another side mission failed on the Chinese-North Korean border. Desperately searching for the American North Korean restaurant. And it doesn't exist. It's been replaced with another state-run restaurant, which just so happens to be the state-run restaurant that I was at earlier. The only North Korean American restaurant in the world has been replaced with fried beef. That is the end game. Fried beef. And then the other place that used to be filled with North Korean businessmen and, likely interesting characters that would not want to talk much to us, but we would have pressed on with, is empty. Completely empty. There's some North Korean waitresses sitting and watching propaganda. That is the extent of the remains of the North Korean government restaurants in Dandong. It was worth a shot. But we were looking very specifically for the state-run restaurants. The ones for shady likes across the river and funnel questionable amounts of money from various local economies, Malaysia, China, you name it, into mystery slush funds for weapons and God knows what else. Not today. We'll settle for something else. As a last-ditch effort to try to find some North Korean food, going to the Korean town in Dandong, and everything here is either by North Koreans that have stayed or by the Korean ethnic minority in northern China. This place looks alright, doesn't it? I like it. Yalu River beer. Yalu River is the one that borders North Korea. Here. The food definitely resembles South Korean food, but it's really good. There's a northern twist on it though. That's crazy. Yeah, the pancake is like $3. The fish is like $3. The fish is... That was the best fish I've had in China so far. And we're back in business. It's tripe, stomach, intestine, sausage, vegetables, everything one could need.